Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Life, Spirit and the Messy Middle. And today, by the way, I'm Maria, and today I've got a very exciting video for you. Something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I had a friend of mine who actually suggested this because she's really interested in this topic herself. So if you're watching, hi. I hope you like this video. Um, it's it's a subject that makes people a little bit jittery, kind of panicky when they talk about it, only because it's simply a topic that gives us proof that we've been lied to for centuries. Okay. Now, before I do go on, just a quick note that everything I share on this channel is for entertainment purposes only and personal reflection. These are my interpretations, the research I have gathered, and my beliefs. I'm speaking as an intuitive, okay, and I'm an empath and someone who believes that we shouldn't dismiss the truth and power that we hold within ourselves. Okay. So it's simply how I see it. And of course, you're welcome to see it differently. Alrighty. Now let's get on with it. So today we're diving into one of the most fascinating archaeological mysteries ever discovered, and that is Göbekli Tepe. A site that challenges everything we thought we knew about human history, civilization, and even spirituality itself. Because according to what many of us were taught, civilization began when humans settled down, started farming, and built cities. But Göbekli Tepe seems to tell a different story. So, Göbekli Tepe is located in modern-day Turkey, and it dates back to around 11,600 years ago, long before agriculture, before pottery, and long before what we would normally consider organized civilization. The site first was noticed back in the 1960s. But it wasn't until the 1990s that archaeologist Klaus Schmidt began excavating and realized just how significant it really was. What they uncovered were massive stone pillars, and they were arranged in a circular formation, some even weighing up to 20 tons. And these pillars were, well, they weren't rough or randomly placed. They were carefully shaped, carved, and decorated with animals like lions and snakes, birds, foxes, and scorpions, even reptiles like lizards. Okay? And what makes this even more mysterious is that there is no clear evidence, of permanent homes at the site. So that would suggest that this wasn't a village or a city. Instead, many researchers actually believe that Göbekli Tepe may have been some sort of ceremonial or ritual site, possibly even the world's oldest known temple. Now, this is where we start to challenge everything we've been taught, or thought we knew. We were always taught that the religion came after civilization, that humans first settled, developed agriculture, and then created their belief systems. But Göbekli Tepe suggests the opposite. It hints that spirituality may have come first and that people may have gathered together for shared belief long before they built permanent settlements. Now, some researchers even suggest that the need to gather at a sacred site like this may have actually encouraged people to begin farming so they could support large groups coming together. Okay, just bear with me. I'm just going to have a quick sip of my, this is actually dandelion tea. My throat's been very, very dry lately, so sorry about that. So this was something that people began to feel encouraged about building the farming, and possibly that could support the large groups that gathered around Göbekli Tepe. Now, if that's true, it means spirituality may have helped spark civilization itself. Another fascinating detail is the structure of the pillars. Many are shaped like a T, and some researchers actually believe they represent human-like figures. They even have carved arms and hands on the sides. This has actually led to speculation that the central pillars may represent ancestors, spiritual beings, or even guardians. There are also carvings that some interpret as symbolic or even astronomical. Some alternative researchers believe carvings could represent constellations or events that happen in the sky or that have happened in the sky in the past. One theory actually links Göbekli Tepe to a comet impact at the end of the Ice Age, which is connected to something known as the Younger Dryas, a sudden climate shift that happened around the same time. Okay. Now, some also believe this event may have caused widespread destruction, possibly wiping out earlier cultures and forcing survivors to rebuild. Now, I'm not here saying that it's absolute fact, and I'm not here saying it's fiction either, but it's something that many people have and continue to explore. Another mystery is that Göbekli Tepe appears to have been intentionally buried. Now, the builders didn't simply abandon it, they filled it in with soil and debris on purpose, very carefully, layer by layer. Now, why would people go through the effort of building something so monumental to only bury it later? And some researchers actually believe it was ritualistic. I suppose it could be. Others think it was done to preserve the site. And some believe it may have been to hide knowledge. I'm going with the latter. But we simply can't be sure, of course. Now, what we do know is that Göbekli Tepe suggests ancient humans may have been far more organized, connected, and spiritually focused than we previously believed. It also raises the possibility that knowledge may have been passed down from earlier cultures, especially considering the timing near the end of the Ice Age. Some people even connect this period to stories of lost civilizations like Atlantis or Lemuria, for example. Not as proven fact, of course, but as part of a wider mystery. And I tend to believe that because of all the connections and all the same sort of stories that explain, like the Younger Dryas, okay, and the chaos, climatic change at the end of the Ice Age, okay. And when you look at it that way, I suppose Göbekli Tepe almost feels like a bridge between the ancient world we don't fully understand and the beginning of civilizations as we do. It almost suggests that humanity has always searched for meaning, and that spirituality, symbolism, and connection to something greater may be deeply rooted in our past. And maybe that's why this site resonates with so many people today. And I'm talking obviously about Göbekli Tepe, because it reminds us that we've always been curious, always searching, always trying to understand our place in the universe. And the truth that is buried within us, okay? This is something I have always been taught to believe. I think it's something that we've all been taught to believe. And we need to remember that so that we can fight what we are witnessing happening around the world today. Okay. And I don't mean fight physically, I mean fight energetically, and listening to the truth that we hold within us. Right now, of course, humanity is going through major transformation. We are starting to, and I know it's cliche to say, but we are waking up. And the old systems are starting to crumble. This is why we are seeing so much chaos and these attempts, okay, to hinder our speech and deprive us of our human rights, okay? These forces, what many call the elites, have our leaders in chains. But let's look a little bit deeper. Now, many cultures throughout history have warned us about a reptilian influence, okay? And I know that many people would go, oh, well, you know, that's just conspiracy theory, okay? But, you know, I know this sounds like a lot to take in. And it might make some feel defensive, like I just said, it's all conspiracy theory. But if you look at the carvings at Göbekli Tepe and the stories that followed the theme of serpent masters is everywhere. Now, why is that? It's a good question, right? And whether you see that as a literal race or an ancient archetype of the cold-blooded mind, a system that values cold logic and control over human empathy, the result is the same. It is a frequency of fear. And they are losing because the raw intuitive power of the human spirit is finally breaking the cycle. I want you to think about this energetically, okay? and intuitively, rather than just literally. Okay, many things have been called conspiracy theories, and now many of those things that have been called conspiracy theories are actually coming to the surface, and people are starting to believe them. And I also want you to feel into the frequency of what is happening. Light always wins over darkness. Remember that. Now, I'm going to end this here in regards to the Göbekli Tepe. There's a lot of research out there, many different theories. I prefer to go into the theories of someone called Graham Hancock, who is not into the mainstream, government sort of funded archaeology and science. Okay, we all know that a lot of the times, those types of scientists and archaeological, let's say, finds are interpreted in a way to keep us ignorant. Okay, they give us information, only what they want us to believe, and then we are left with what's the truth. Okay, and a lot of the times they're not giving it to us. But again, like I said, I'm going to leave it at that. I want to get into some cards today because I'm very excited. I haven't done some cards on this before. I'm going to be doing the right away because it's like my go-to, and I like to get a little bit familiar when I'm going into subjects that I'm not quite comfortable energetically speaking about and doing. Now, before I do, I just want to grab my obsidian. Okay, just bear with me. It's going to grab my obsidian because it's a protection, and I know that this kind of subjects kind of require some sort of protection because these things are always protected by certain energies, so that people like myself, other psychics, other intuitives, and empaths can kind of hit a brick wall and not get any information. Now, I'm going to try to get as much information as I can. Let's find out if the cards will tell us what Göbekli Tepe actually is and what humanity may need to learn from it. Okay, so can the spirit guides please tell us what Göbekli Tepe truly is? What Göbekli Tepe truly is. That's too many cards. Sorry, I had so many cards fall out. Not going to do that. If it's one or two, I'll grab them. But if it's not, again, geez, you really want to come out, don't they? What is Göbekli Tepe? I might just do the normal little shuffling thing that I normally do, so bear with me. Now, I'm sorry you can't see that. I'm trying to save up for another little camera that I can put on the side here so you can see just the cards. But they're a little bit expensive at the moment for me, so I'm just going to have to bear with me, okay? Okay, so what is Göbekli Tepe? What is Göbekli Tepe? Now, as usual, please take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't. Not everyone is going to accept what I say or what the cards say. So here we go. Okay, so you got the King of Wands. Now, I noticed that on the King of Wands, if you notice carefully, he's got a few, like that's a salamander, and behind him is a pillar with different sort of like carvings and pictures of lions, and what else is on there? And lizards, and looks like a dragon. So, okay, we're starting off good. Okay, what else does Spirit want to tell us about Göbekli Tepe? Okay, so we got the Two of Swords, okay? Last card, Göbekli Tepe. Okay, and then we have the High Priestess, okay? We've got the pillars just beside her, black and white. Now, this card has a lot of symbolism. Now, I'm just going to tune in and see what the cards are telling me. And I'm going to have another little sip of my dandelion tea. Okay. So what I'm getting from these cards is that this site wasn't either a temple or a ritualistic. It was kind of like a meeting place where obviously people would gather, and then they would do rituals, and they would do meetings there. For example, people would gather there to find out what was best to do for this situation or that situation, to kind of gather also information. It was like a meeting place for many people from far away to close by. People even traveled over water, I think, to get to Göbekli Tepe. And for miles, because there would be like almost like a call out at such and such time when the moon was like this and the stars were like that. Something along those lines. People would then understand, okay, at this time this is going to be, let's start traveling towards to find out if we need to do this, if we need to. It was almost like social media in a way. Okay, I know it sounds weird, but it's where people would go to do all sorts of things, to meet each other, to find out about what was happening, new things that they could take back to their villages or their own people. And I'm not saying that everyone needs to go. I'm talking about in the sense of each village or each place would call or get a few people to go, and then those people would travel there and then come back and bring whatever wisdom basically they could get from that place back to their own people, their own villages. This was a place where people used to meditate as well, and uh, basically do their rituals. Let me just pull another card. What else? What else can the spirit guides tell us about Göbekli Tepe? What else can the spirit guides tell us about Göbekli Tepe? Okay, so I got the Six of Swords. I'm trying to sort of understand I think it's just trying to say that many people would travel there to get relief from certain obstacles. And once they went there, they would get the wisdom and the answers that they needed to get by, and to get through whatever it was that was plaguing them. Pick up another card, okay? One more card. What should we know? Or can we know more about Göbekli Tepe? Okay, and I got the Knight of Pentacles. I'm not getting much out of this card. If you are a card reader and an intuitive and you're watching this channel, if you have, and if you've watched up until now and you know what I'm talking about, if you have any idea what this card may mean, I would appreciate if you would let me know what you think. That would be perfect. Just leave a comment down below, because I'm not getting much from what this card may be telling us. And to be honest, I'm almost kind of feeling like I'm hitting a brick wall now. So, and to me, that's my symbol for saying, don't go any further. Don't ask any more questions. We've given you enough for now. So I'm going to leave it at that. Oh my goodness. I know. Listen, sometimes the cards don't always give me what I want. Well, actually, they never give me what I want. They just tell me what I need to know. And when my spirit guides, they've literally put up a big brick wall in front of me, and they said to me, that's like enough. We can't give you any more. Now, before I finish, I just want to say something a little personal, okay? This channel, it's still very small. I'm doing this from my dining table where I have my meals, where my family, my father and my daughter, whom I care for, have their meals. And this is part of my messy middle, okay? I'm a single mum. I have been for many, many years, and I'm on a disability pension because unfortunately I have a couple of autoimmune diseases, and they unfortunately kind of restrict me a lot from doing what I wish I could be doing, which is working. Okay. I have never been one to believe that, you know, everything that I've been told. Basically, I've always been a little bit rebellious at heart, I suppose. But that doesn't mean I don't follow laws. I I do follow laws, obviously. I just don't trust what many of these laws are benefiting. Okay, I don't trust that they're benefiting us 100%, if you know what I mean. But I suppose, you know, if you've made it this far and you enjoy these kinds of conversations about ancient civilizations, lost knowledge, and the mysteries of the past, and the little controversies I discuss, then the reason I am being a little more personal with you is because I would really, truly love for you to be able to like this video, subscribe because it's absolutely free, or even just leave a comment. It generally helps more than you might realize, and it tells basically the algorithm that these conversations matter, and it helps this channel grow. And my hope is that one day this could be something sustainable, something that allows me to keep doing what I love, and that's researching and telling these stories, and giving you the same sort of wisdoms that I get from learning about these things and creating and sharing them with you without the worry that I can afford to continue. Okay. And if anybody actually cares about what I'm doing, because if they do, then they will leave a like and subscribe. So if you feel drawn to this content and you want to see more, again, please consider subscribing, and it really does make a difference. But for me, it's thank you once again. Hope to see you back again. So for now, it's goodbye. Mwah. Thank you. And I will see you in the next one. Okay. Bye for now.